Alright, what is up YouTube? I got some good feedback on my last or a couple of videos back of the 5 tips for beginners on dirt bikes. I had a lot of good comments in the comment section from you guys, kind of giving me some more ideas to help other people out, this and that. And so today's topic is going to be how not to get scammed on Craigslist when buying a used dirt bike. There can also be another video where I talk about when you're selling a dirt bike, how to not get scammed, because that happened to me. If you guys remember watching that video months and months ago, maybe I'll pop the thumbnail up right here if you want to check that out. But that's a whole nother video, whole nother topic, whole nother list of points I'd have to cover. But today is how to buy a used dirt bike and how not to get scammed. This isn't like a normal vlog or whatever, so if you guys are looking for a vlog, come back next video or the video after that, and it should be the normal moto vlog, pit bike, mountain bike vlog, whatever. If you guys are new and want to see more of these along with mountain bike videos, pit bike videos, dirt bike videos, various vlogs, this and that, definitely hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more of these videos, along with also posting a comment down below in the comment section with some other tips on how to not get scammed, different things you look out for when buying a dirt bike on Craigslist. If you have a buddy or friend that's trying to buy a used vehicle, a used dirt bike, ATV, whatever, share this video with them, let them know, and hopefully something in this video will help him or her out. Also, something I want to mention, I don't know everything. Anybody can find this information by looking it up online, so I don't know any more than anybody else. So I'm not claiming to know everything, but yeah, just thought I'd clear that up before we get the haters in the comments and whatnot. So we're gonna jump right into this and start with bullet point number 1. First thing you're probably gonna see on a Craigslist ad or deal is something that's like way too good to be true. It's super cheap, or maybe there's only one picture and it's like a really good picture, and all the details check out, saying it's like in mint condition, perfect, only has like 1 hour on it, like his grandpa rode it around the lawn, something like that, is most likely, like I said, too good to be true and not the deal that you think it is, as you're getting all hyped up and excited for it. So a common response from somebody like that, as I've dealt with myself too, is they'll say, oh, I have to go into the military next week, I need it gone like right now within a few days. Either my grandpa rode it around the lawn and I don't have that much information on it, or my brother owned it and he gave it to me to sell, or this and that. And they're all BS like things that they want to try to get you there or get money over the phone, which I'll talk briefly in the next couple bullet points. Most of those deals are, like I said, too good to be true and are pretty much just a scam. Also related to this is that, oh, they'll hold it for you, or they'll hold it for a week or 2 weeks while you get the money if you send them, say, $1,000 through PayPal, or just directly to them, or wire transfer them money. Do not do that. I'm pretty sure most people have common sense not to do that, but I mean, they must be getting some people if they ask 100 people in a day to wire transfer or send PayPal over the phone if they have some old lady that doesn't really know or something like this. So don't do that. It's really dumb and they're probably gonna scam you. And another thing that I've seen is those people that scammed you the first time will come back and scam you a second time, because they'll send some fake PayPal or some fake email that'll say that, say the police or the authority, whatever, found the guy that stole your money through some online thing, and then that person through that link will ask for all your information once again, say your credit card information or whatever information like connected to your PayPal, that they can access your account and money, and then they'll steal more money from you. They'll come back a second time because you were vulnerable the first time to send money, so they'll think you're stupid enough to send it again, which if you send it again, it's a whole, if you understand what I'm saying, but just don't even get caught in that. But yeah, their mentality is if you send it the first time, they'll send it again. But these people are really smart. They know how to steal your money and scam you, and just try to avoid every single thing that I talked about. If a person says that, that's a red flag, and just cancel out with that deal. Okay, so the next thing before you even go to look at the bike or even text the person or call the person regarding the bike is to know your budget. Know how much you want to spend exactly before you go into the deal, because you might get there and then you're like, oh, I could go an extra $400, $500. Like, don't do that. Know your budget before you go in there. And also you have to consider like what it's gonna cost to put into the bike along top of what you actually had spent. So you gotta leave some wiggle room. So say the bike needs $400 in extra parts and you already spent all the money that you wanted to spend on it, then you have to save that $400 before you can even ride it. So just know your budget, know what you want to spend before you go and look at the bike, or even call and text the person. Don't try to rush into these deals. A lot of people get carried away when they go and look at a bike. They get all hyped up on it and they're super excited, and it kind of distracts them from the fact of stuff's broken or this and that, and it kind of makes you just want to buy it then and there because you're there and it's sick and this and that. So Also, bring somebody with you that can kind of get like another point of view, another opinion on it, because that always helps. Maybe somebody that knows a little bit more than you to help you out when you're looking at a used bike or whatever you're looking at. And yeah, it's a common thing to get too excited and purchase it. I'm not saying I haven't done it myself, but it's just something to be cautious about. Know your limit. The thing would be to do your research on the specific bike or model or truck or car or ATV or UTV or snowmobile. Do your research on it before you actually go and look at it. So like a common part that breaks on it, common things that go wrong. So you know exactly what to look for when you go and look at it versus just looking at random things that have nothing to do with the problem, and if that makes any sense whatsoever. But know a common thing that's gonna break and kind of focus on that, not the other, the cool grips, the flashy graphics, and the whole thing that can get you tied up into possibly buying a bad deal or getting scammed on it. So some common questions to ask when you go look at the bike or even over the phone was, why are you selling it? Obviously, why are you getting rid of it? Was it raced? What they specifically do with it? Did they race it or did they trail ride it? Both can be good or bad, necessarily who owned it previously or if they were the first owner or second owner. So typically, I personally would look for something that was maybe raced a little bit, because most common times somebody who raced their bike would actually take more care of the person who trail rode the bike. So the person who raced the bike is gonna change their oil pretty much every couple rides. They're gonna change the air filter pretty much every ride. They keep up on that normal maintenance that maybe the trail guy wouldn't do, and he's just gonna go rip it around the backyard and ride it all the time and not really take care of the maintenance. So typically the guys who race them take a lot better care of the guys who trail ride. I'm not saying that's the case for everything, but normal times, as you see bikes on Craigslist and this and that, bikes that were raced were taken better care of than the person who just cruised around on it. Another thing would be the amount of hours that are on the bike. It depends on what bike you're buying. So if you're buying a race bike or a trail bike or like my KLX110, you're not really gonna ask like hours on the bike. You can kind of tell just looking at the bike. But I'm gonna focus on race bikes for this. So basically you're gonna ask about how many hours are on the bike, if they ever rebuilt it before. Hours do matter sometimes. Like Brian's old YZ250F had, I think 140 hours, I believe, and he sold it. Motor was never touched, didn't touch anything except just change the air filter pretty much every ride and change the oil every other ride. So they will last quite a while depending on how the person rides it. If they're holding rev limiter all the time, this and that, it's not gonna last as long as somebody that doesn't, but you never know. Could last forever, or it could blow up at 40, 50 hours. So it's hard to say on these 250s and 450s how long they're gonna last. Typically a 450 will last longer since you're not revving it out as much as like a 250, but it all depends on who rode it and what their maintenance was on it. Next, you're gonna ask to take the seat off, check the air filter, check the air box, take the air filter actually off and look inside the air boot. If there's a bunch of dirt inside the air boot, that's not a good sign. Along with if the whole air box and air filters are like caked in dirt, that's not good. And I'd probably stay away from that bike over, like look around more and find a better bike, because if that's how it's always been ridden and maintained, that thing's probably about to blow up. It's not the case for every bike, but I'd just be a little cautious with that, because pretty much any guy can make a bike look brand new from the outside. It matters on the inside and the air box and the air boot and everything's clean, then you know that they took care of it. Otherwise, they just threw graphics and plastics on it and tried to off it on Craigslist. And then obviously listen to the motor if it's knocking, this and that. Check over the brakes, check over when you're test riding, if the clutch is slipping, along with the chain, the sprockets, if they're worn out. You have to consider that into the actual price when you barter with them back and forth, or price and stuff that you have to buy on top of the price for the actual bike. So that's pretty much all common sense, but not everybody knows this and not every guy's gonna know everything. So hopefully some of this information has helped some of you out so far. If it has, give the video a thumbs up. Another thing you can do is grab the back wheel, and if it's on a stand, not on a triangle, and kind of wiggle it up if the linkage bearings are shot. Check if the fork seals are leaking, if the rear shock's leaking. All those things are gonna be the most expensive things. A lot of those things are gonna be pretty expensive if you have to get the fork seals done, redo the shocks, the whole suspension. That's what's gonna cost you a lot of money, along with, well, if the motor itself is shot and blows up, then the bike, like that'll cost you the most. But along with if you have a shop do it, or if you can do it yourself, we'll all save money or add money depending on what work has to get done to it. Me personally, I don't think I would go on Craigslist and look for a used 250F, because it's so, they're pretty much just ticking time bombs. If one of those things blows up, you're gonna cost so much money to rebuild that thing that you may as well, like say you bought a used, we'll say for example 2015 KX250F. They're, in my area at least, will go around the 3,500 range mark, depending on the hours and the condition of the bike. So let's say you get $3,500, you spend $3,500 on that used 2015, okay? Say you ride it for, you put 10 hours on it and the thing grenades in a matter of a month. So that's gonna probably cost you anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000, depending if you do it yourself or if you have a shop do it. And say you grenaded the entire motor or this and that, like there's so many different scenarios that can happen. But if you grenade that motor, just add $2,000 on top of that $3,500. And at that point, you may as well have just bought a brand new 250 and not have to worry about anything else. So that's just the motor, not to mention if you have to get the suspension redone, like I said, the brakes, any other common thing that wears out. It all adds up, and I mean, you really got to think about how much money you want to spend if you're getting into the sport, if you're already in the sport. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it. Not everybody has the money to buy a brand new bike up front. You can finance it, whatever, but it all depends on how much money you have and how much you want to invest into riding in the sport and just in general. So that's just my opinion. I'm sure I'll get some criticism here and there, but most of the guys will kind of understand how much it costs if that thing does blow up. I do kind of have experience from buying both used and new. I bought my my used 2009 KX250F. That bike got me, I think I had it for about a year before I ended up selling it. I didn't touch the motor, do anything to it. I don't know how many hours it had, but it did fine for me at the time. I sold that, and then I bought that 2014, which was Bailey's cousin's. So I kind of knew, if you know somebody who had the bike and you know how they rode it and this and that, like he only rode it, had 3 hours on the bike, the grips were still brand new, they still had the little nipple things on the tires, like the bike was in mid condition, so I kind of knew what I was buying at the time versus just buying some bike off Craigslist. But it all depends on who you know, how they rode it, this and that, and there's a bunch of different scenarios, like I said, that come into play when buying a used bike and the previous owner. Okay, so the next thing would be to kind of wheel and deal. If the guy's asking $3,500, kind of offer him $3,000, feel it out, see what he says, go back and forth. You're probably gonna end up around the $3,300 mark, $3,200 mark, or even offer less. You don't wanna offend anybody or get anybody pissed off. Maybe offer $29, I don't know, whatever you're comfortable with doing. But wheel and deal, don't pay full price. Craigslist is normally a process of going back and forth over the phone, this and that, or if the guy's actually serious, he'll do it in person. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Offer $500, $600 less, kind of meet in that middle point. Also, while you're doing that, convince the guy like why he needs to sell it now. You can have this money in your hand today. You gotta tell him, like, this is your cash right now, I have it, it's yours. Do you want it to sit on Craigslist for another month and you sit on this bike longer and lose more value, this and that, or sit over the winter and not be able to sell it? So kind of convince the guy why he needs to sell it, why he wants the money. Well, obviously he wants your money, but why he needs to sell it right then and there for that amount. And then if you guys can't make that deal, know how to walk away. Don't keep going up higher and higher. Just know where your limit is, when to walk away, and move on to the next deal. A little example of this would be the mountain bike that I just bought to make mountain bike videos on. I went to 2 different shops, one that didn't have track, one that did. Looked at a couple various different bikes before I made a decision on the bike that I currently have. So I went to the first bike shop. The first day when I had to drop off my other bike to get fixed, if you guys saw that. If you didn't see that last video, check it out of mountain biking, this and that. But anyways, I went to that bike shop to check out a new bike, possibly purchases, not really sure. So the first day, the guy couldn't really give me an offer, this and that. Then the second day I came in, he actually dropped the bike down, I think $300. So he gave me that quote, and I was trying to get him down another $200, I believe, from that offer. So then I'm like, all right, I'll walk away. I walked away from that. Didn't think it was the best deal that I could get. I called, I think, 6 other bike shops around me trying to find the bike because their 2018 models were gonna be like obviously gone once they sell out of the 2018s and they get the 2019s. I'm not gonna be able to wheel and deal as much on the 19s as I will on the 18s. So basically I called the different 6 bike shops. None of them really had that model bike except one other shop, and they had one left. And then after that, between that one shop and the other shop, there would be no more 2018s in my area at least. I told the guy at the first place that obviously they're 2018s, you're gonna wanna get rid of this to then get the 2019s in, and that way, like, I'm like, I'll buy this today. I also mentioned that he'll probably get some decent commission, obviously, from selling the bike, because I think that's how that shop works, at least. I'm not entirely sure if that's how the case for every shop, based on commission, this and that, the percentage, how much they get, but at least for this shop, it was pretty decent. So anyways, I walked away from that shop. I called the other shop. which was about, I think, 20 minutes away from that one. I told him what that other shop can do for me, and then I went to that shop, wheeled and deal more, and then I actually got that shop down $200, which was the original price that I wanted to pay at the other shop. And yeah, so I ended up walking away with like a $600 to $700 discount. Along with that, guy actually threw in like $100 pedals to throw on the bike. So I made out in the end. You gotta wait to kind of find the best deal. Look around, don't confirm, don't go, like if I went in that first day and the guy said, oh, I can't do that, I would have spent $700, $800 more than what I spent, not 800, about $700 more than what I paid 2 days later. So look around, find the best deal, call a bunch of different dealerships, call a bunch of different people on Craigslist. The deal's out there if you're willing to wait, and yeah, it's all about patience and what you really want to spend. If you're willing to spend that $700 and don't care about money, go ahead, but to each their own, I guess. And then the last thing I want to touch base on is you can't trust anybody. Don't, just because they're nice over text, they're nice on the phone, that they're going to be nice in person, or that they're really going to do what they say. So trust your gut. If you have a bad feeling that they're going to do something, kind of walk away, step back. Yeah, if they're being sketchy, obviously leave, this and that, like the example with Justin buying that pit bike a couple months ago in the winter. If you saw that video where he explained like he thought he was going to get killed, this and that, where he met this guy at this gas station with this pit bike. The guy was super sketchy. He had this weird gut feeling, and he still went through it and went back to the guy's house, supposed house, where it was some random barn in the middle of nowhere. Like, two dudes got out of the truck and went into this barn and turned this like one light on, and I guess they were in there for like 30 minutes while he was waiting, and they kept like peeking out to make sure he was still there, like they were planning something. So Justin ended up like dipping out, made a quick U-ey in their like field or whatever, and ripped out of there. And you never know what people are gonna do. You can't trust anybody. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it on this video on some of the things I looked up and kind of my own experiences. Like I said, I don't know everything. Some of the things probably didn't make sense, but I'm just winging it, kind of going off the bullet points and kind of expanding a little bit more. Like I said, if any of you out there have other tips on how to not get scammed, how to buy a bike on Craigslist, this and that, definitely post them down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. If you didn't like this video, still give it a thumbs up, because it helps me out a lot, helps the channel grow, helps me get out there more, and it only takes 2 seconds of your time. Along with that, hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more content. And off of that, I'll see you guys in the next video.